GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tonight we'll break down the three-person bail hearing after 67-kilogram cocaine seizure, plus the 134 million Place des AR renovation, and give you a quick traffic snapshot with minor construction delays. I'll also preview Startup Fest in the Old Port. Over to you, Emma.
Christian Blackshow will perform at the Pinnacle of Romanticism concert, held at Place des AR this Saturday evening, featuring works by Chopin, Schumann, and Rachmaninoff.
Tickets start at $40 for general admission, with premium seats reaching $80 and doors open at 6:30 p.m. Seating begins promptly at 7.
The concert is part of the Summer Classical Series, and a live stream will be available online for viewers unable to attend in person, free with registration.
The evening promises an intimate interpretation of romantic masterpieces, drawing music lovers from across the city. And now, with those details shared, lots to get to, let's begin. Good evening, Montreal. Yesterday, the Montreal Roses confirmed the addition of 2 internationally seasoned players to their roster. Midfielder Marie-Yasmin Aladou, a veteran of the French League, and defender Yves Perisset, who recently featured in the European Championship, both signed multi-year contracts. Team officials said the pair bring a blend of experience and leadership that will strengthen the squad as it prepares for the upcoming season. The club highlighted Aladou's playmaking vision and Perisset's defensive solidity as key assets. Fans responded with enthusiastic messages across social media, celebrating the moves as a clear signal of ambition. The Roses will integrate the newcomers during training camp next week, aiming to build chemistry ahead of the league's opening matches. Club president Sophie Tremblay said the signings show the team's commitment to compete at the highest level. The newcomers will join stars such as forward Léa Dubois and goalkeeper Amélie Gagnon, creating a deep roster.
World number 1 Jannik Sinner and 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic will headline the National Bank Open field this summer. The ATP 1000 tournament in Montreal assembles a 96-player draw, and the presence of the top-ranked Italian and the Serbian legend follows a wave of withdrawals that thinned the lineup last year. Organizers say the star-studded roster restores the event's marquee appeal, giving fans a chance to see Sinner, fresh off his ascent to the top of the rankings, and Djokovic, still chasing titles, compete on the hard courts. The tournament, a staple of the summer calendar, promises high-octane matches as the two titans join a global slate of competitors. Tickets are on sale, and anticipation is building across the city for what promises to be a showcase of elite tennis.
CF Montreal confirmed today that 26-year-old defender Luca Petrasso has agreed to a new deal extending his stay through the end of the 2028-29 MLS season, with a club option for the following season. The club praised Petrasso's growth since joining the roster, noting his versatility across the back line and his contributions to a solid defensive record this year. Montreal fans will see him continue to anchor the back five as the team prepares for a busy summer schedule that includes matches at Stade Saputo and a push for playoff positioning. The announcement follows a series of recent contract renewals aimed at locking in key talent as the club builds toward future success. Management said the long-term commitment reflects confidence in Petrasso's development and his role in the squad's ambitions.
A 4-foot robot called Bambi was seen this afternoon strolling through the streets, breaking into spontaneous dance routines and stopping for selfies with passers-by. The autonomous unit, first featured on CBC Montreal Daybreak, roams the city with a programmed set of moves ranging from classic pop steps to quirky robot twists. Witnesses reported the robot pausing near cafes in Plateau Mont Royal and at the bustling Jean Talon market, inviting onlookers to capture the moment on their phones. At the Old Port, Bambi performed a brief waltz while tourists filmed the scene. Its sensors use LiDAR and camera arrays to navigate crowded sidewalks safely. The creators say the device showcases advances in public space robotics and plan to expand its itinerary to community events later this summer. No safety concerns have been reported as the robot continues its tour of the island.
Residents of Dollar des Ormeaux are weighing a proposed class action lawsuit against the city of Montreal, alleging the municipality failed to adequately prepare for a series of flash floods that have battered the West Island suburb in recent weeks. The storms left dozens of homes with water-logged foundations, ruined basements, and costly repairs, prompting families to describe a mounting financial and emotional toll. City officials acknowledge the severity of the events but say ongoing infrastructure upgrades are intended to mitigate future risk. Legal counsel for the plaintiffs says the claim will seek compensation for property damage and for what they describe as insufficient preventative measures. A town hall meeting scheduled for next week will allow residents to voice concerns and decide whether to move forward with the collective action. If the lawsuit proceeds, it could set a precedent for how municipalities address climate-related hazards across the island. After the break, we'll break down CF Montreal's 2-1 Canadian Championship win and its impact on the club. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the break. Let's dive into today's local stories with our reporter who's got the pulse on Montreal right now.
CF Montreal clinched a 2-1 win today in the Canadian Championship, the national knockout tournament that crowns the country's top professional soccer club. The match unfolded on home soil in Montreal, Quebec, where the team edged out their opponent with 2 goals against a single reply. The victory adds another success to the club's season and keeps them in contention for the championship title. Fans in the arena witnessed the decisive moments, and the result will be reflected in the tournament standings as the competition moves forward. Because the competition is single elimination, any loss would have ended the club's campaign in the championship. The team now turns its focus to the upcoming round. The Canadian Championship, organized by the National Federation, features clubs from across the country battling in single elimination rounds. CF Montreal's performance today demonstrates the squad's ability to deliver under the pressure of a knockout format.
Quebec announced today a new safety requirement targeting Ontario commercial drivers. Starting immediately, any Ontario licensed truck driver who wishes to operate a heavy vehicle on Quebec roads must first pass a written examination administered by the Provincial Transport Ministry. The rule comes after a string of serious collisions involving out-of-province trucks that officials say involved drivers lacking local knowledge. By mandating a knowledge test, the government aims to ensure that drivers understand Quebec's road regulations, weight limits, and hazardous material protocols before they enter the province. The measure applies to all new drivers from Ontario seeking to haul freight into Quebec, while existing drivers will be given a transition period to meet the standard. Transport officials stress that the exam will be offered in both French and English and will focus on safety procedures, route planning, and emergency response.
The province's correctional peace officers are set to approve a new collective agreement today. Union members will cast votes on the settlement proposal that would renew their bargaining contract, bringing an end to months of negotiations. Officials say the agreement outlines updated wages, benefits, and work time provisions that have been discussed over recent weeks. If the vote passes, the terms will be adopted immediately, providing a clear framework for staffing and safety standards across all facilities. The decision is expected to stabilize labor relations and allow prison administrators to focus on day-to-day operations without the uncertainty of pending talks. The negotiation, which started in the spring, also addresses staffing levels and includes new safety equipment provisions. The adopted contract will set salary scales for the next 3 years and introduce a mental health support program for officers.
The latest provincial demographic outlook warns that Quebec will see its resident count dip by roughly 50,000 people before the trend levels off. The projection, released by the province's statistics agency, attributes the short-term drop to a slowdown in temporary immigrant arrivals. While the decline is expected to unfold over the next few years, officials say the population will stabilize after the 2029 horizon. For families and businesses, fewer newcomers could mean tighter labor markets and less demand for housing, schooling, and health services in the coming years. Retail outlets expect a modest dip in customer flow, and seniors might notice fewer volunteers for neighborhood initiatives. Schools are keeping close tabs on enrollment numbers to plan class sizes accordingly. City planners are already reviewing the figures as they shape future transit and community projects, aiming to adapt to a slightly smaller, yet steady population base.
The city halted the Outremont modular housing project on July 8 after environmental tests revealed contamination at the proposed site. The decision was announced by Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada, who said the findings made continuation impossible. The development had received approval earlier under Mayor Valérie Plant's administration, part of a broader effort to increase affordable units. Residents had been expecting the modular blocks to begin construction within weeks, but the pause now leaves the vacant lot untouched. Officials indicated that further testing and remediation will be required before any new housing proposal can move forward. City council members voiced concerns about health risks for nearby families, and the mayor pledged transparency as the review continues. The cancellation underscores the challenges of fast-track building programs when site conditions are uncertain, and city planners will review alternative locations for the promised units.
Now let's hand it over to our weather team for tonight's outlook, starting with the evening forecast.
A southwest jet stream and slipping pressure are turning today's light rain into a lingering evening damp spell. On this date, Montreal once burned to 34.1 degrees Celsius in 2020, a record set during an unprecedented heat wave that pushed the city into the upper 30s for several days. The cold counterpart fell to 11.6 degrees Celsius in 2022, when a polar vortex dipped unusually far south, blanketing the region in frost despite midsummer. Today's normals hover around 22 degrees high and 15 degrees low, underscoring how today's temperatures sit comfortably between those extremes. The live radar shows a band of moderate rain marching eastward across the southwest fringe of the province, intensified near 6 p.m. as the jet stream from the southwest drives the cells into the island. By 7 p.m., the core will be over the metropolitan area, then taper off as the upper-level flow lifts the moisture northward. The map is otherwise clear, confirming a brief, focused pulse of precipitation before the skies dry out. At 6 p.m., the city sits under overcast skies with a temperature of 23 degrees and light rain easing out. Near-average pressure is easing lower, a sign the atmosphere is becoming unsettled as the jet stream overhead pushes at a speed of 122 kilometers per hour from the southwest, stirring upper-level moisture. The wind is modest, 5 kilometers per hour from the north, rising to a maximum of 11 kilometers per hour from the south later this evening. UV Index 3 reflects the waning sun. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for Hemmingford, Huntingdon, St. Remy, and Valleyfield-Beauharnois, so remain alert for sudden gusts or brief heavy downpours. After the rain clears, conditions will stay cool and cloudy through the night, with a low expected around 18 degrees. Friday will break the cloud cover with clear skies and a warm high of 27 degrees, a pleasant shift as the jet stream lifts northward and high pressure builds. Saturday follows suit, offering another clear day and a high of 26 degrees, while humidity eases. Sunday introduces a slight dip in sunshine, partly cloudy with a high of 28 degrees, as a weak trough nudges the jet stream south again. Monday brings overcast conditions and a modest chance of rain at 20%, temperature holding at 27 degrees with an unusually high low of 21 degrees, indicating a lingering warm night. Tuesday turns hotter, reaching a high of 32 degrees and a low of 21 degrees, with a 30% rain chance as the atmosphere remains moist and the jet stream feeds another wave of unsettled weather. These swings highlight a transition from dry warmth to a more humid, rainy pattern later in the week. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, a look at traffic, a peek at Taste of the Caribbean and Startup Fest 2026, Steve's Music Store Spotlight. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches, no middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
All major routes are flowing freely this afternoon. Autoroute 6 is clear from the Turcotte interchange to the Ville-Marie tunnel. Boulevard St. Laurent shows no slowdowns, and Rue Shair-Brook moves at normal speed through downtown. The Descartes Expressway reports smooth traffic, with no backups near the Côte Saint-Lucian overpass. Likewise, the eastern stretch of Autoroute 15 is moving without congestion. With no accidents or roadwork reported, commuters can expect a steady ride toward the evening rush. The usual build-up typically begins around 6 o'clock on the southwest corridor, especially along the Descartes and the Champlain Bridge, so plan a few extra minutes if you travel then. Transit services remain on schedule with no delays on the metro or bus network. Keep an eye on the weather, as a light drizzle may develop later, but it is not expected to affect travel at this time.
Startup Fest 2026 is at the Via Port, drawing entrepreneurs for talks, workshops, and networking. It's where the next big tech ideas surface. If you're hungry for flavor, the Taste of the Caribbean lights up the Clock Tower Pier with island food, drinks, and live music, a perfect way to spend an afternoon. The vibrant rhythms and aromas turn the old port into a seaside celebration. Across the city, the festival International Nuits d'Afrique continues to pulse through venues, showcasing top African and Latin American artists for anyone craving world-class sound. From pulsating drums to soulful vocals, the festival turns Montreal's streets into a global concert hall. The Montreal Street Food Festival rolls out next week, promising dozens of local vendors and live beats at locations citywide. With food trucks ranging from poutine-infused tacos to artisanal ice cream, it's a preview of summer's tastiest moments. Whatever your mood, the calendar is buzzing with culture, cuisine, and connection. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal's teams and upcoming events across the city. The Montreal Roses have added 2 internationally seasoned forwards, Marie-Yasmine Aladou and Yves Perisset, according to CBC Sports Soccer. The club announced the moves earlier this week, bolstering its roster with high-profile talent ahead of the upcoming season. Evelyn Badu delivered a 3-goal performance as the Montreal Roses overwhelmed Vancouver Rise 5-1 in a Northern Super League clash on Saturday, CBC Sports Soccer reports. The decisive win underscores the Roses' offensive firepower as they chase league dominance. The Montreal Canadiens have dealt forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks for future considerations, CBC Sports NHL confirms. The transaction moves the Habs' veteran winger to the West Coast, opening a roster spot as the club reshapes its offensive lineup. World number 1 Jannik Sinner will headline the National Bank Open in Montreal this August, leading a 96-player draw, Sportsnet notes. 2-time world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz will miss the event while recovering from a wrist injury, reshaping the tournament's top seed lineup. An international sports firm has injected $30 million into the Northern Super League, CBC Sports Soccer reports. The funding bolsters the 6-team Canadian Women's Professional Soccer League, which includes clubs from Vancouver, Calgary, Halifax, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa, as it enters its second season.
Steve's Music Store on St. Catherine Street in downtown Montreal has been a cornerstone of our city's soundscape for 60 years. Founded by Steve Kiermont in 1965, the shop grew from a modest back room to a beloved destination for guitarists, drummers, and budding composers across Quebec and Ontario. Today, the last downtown location is closing its doors, a decision forced by rising costs and the relentless pull of online retailers. Its loss will be felt in every rehearsal studio, street corner jam, and school music program that relied on Steve's knowledgeable staff and the familiar hum of vinyl and strings. Montreal's rhythm has always been richer because places like this gave us a space to create, connect, and dream. Don't miss our next segment, where we'll share the charming tale of Bambi, the 4-foot robot dancing and snapping selfies across town.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
On a breezy evening in the heart of the St. Louis neighborhood, a community center on Rue St. Louis filled with faces. Longtime volunteers, local teachers, and a few curious teenagers gathered around a folding table where Gertrude Borden, former chief of the Provincial Health Network, placed a notebook and a steaming mug of coffee. The room smelled of fresh pastries from the bakery next door, and a mural of the St. Lawrence River glimmered behind her, reminding everyone why this corner of the city feels like home. Borden spoke calmly, recalling the challenges of the 2018 and 2019 campaigns, not as defeats but as lessons that deepened her resolve. She listened as a young mother described her son's first steps at the local park, and a retired teacher shared a story of how the Ridings Library revived a love of reading in generations. The crowd responded with applause, their eyes reflecting a shared belief that experience and compassion can still shape the future. Tonight, the community's confidence in her return feels like a promise that perseverance, when met with open hearts, can turn a new page for Jean Lesage.
On a bright Tuesday morning on Osborne Street in Verdun, a modest sinkhole just over 30 centimeters deep had appeared, startling commuters and cyclists alike. Residents paused, glancing at the uneven pavement, while a young mother with a stroller stopped short, her eyes meeting the unexpected dip. One longtime neighbor, Jean-Claude, took matters into his own hands. He called the city, then placed a bright orange traffic cone at the edge of the hole, a simple but unmistakable signal that safety mattered. The cone stood like a lighthouse, catching the attention of passing drivers and the borough's public works team. Within hours, a crew from Verdun arrived, their trucks humming softly as they set up equipment. By late afternoon, crews had begun to fill the depression with compacted gravel, smoothing the surface so that the street could once again carry the steady rhythm of daily life. The community watched, relieved, as the repair progressed, a reminder that a single act can spark a swift response. Montreal's neighborhoods continue to look out for one another, keeping our streets safe and our spirits bright.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us tonight. From the 4-foot robot Bambi's surprise dance to the latest on our National Bank Open, we've had a lively mix of stories. I'm Marc Beaumont, and I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow for more local insight. Stay safe.